So the free market economy, the free market economy is also known as capitalist economic system. It is also known as the capitalist economic system. So it's also known as the capitalist economic system. Other than being known as the capitalist economic system, some individuals refer to it as the laissez-faire economic system. They refer to it as a laissez-faire economic system. All right. So, what are the main features or characteristics? Let's now dive into those features or characteristics of a free market economy. But to start with, let's first start with the definition. Right, a free market economic system, also known as a market economic system, or a laissez-faire economic system, or a capitalist economic system, is an economic system under which the government plays a limited role in the production and provision of goods and services. So, a free market or a market economy or a capitalist economic system is an economy under which the government plays a limited role in the production of goods and services. So the government plays a very minimum role in the production of goods and services. So that's the main feature or characteristic of a free market economy. Right. Let's now talk about countries which are more of a free market or capitalist economic system. Right. So remember, in reality, we do not have a pure or 100% capitalist or free market economy. In reality, most economies are a mixture of the two extremes, that is, the free market and the command. So, in a pure economic system, we would not have a government, all right? Would not have a government in a pure economic system. So what it means, there won't be any production of public goods and the merit goods. All right, we'll talk about what are public goods and merit goods in detail later on during the course of this video. All right. Now, let's go into dive into the characteristics or features of a free market economic system. Right. So the main feature, number one, government plays no part, or government has a limited role in the production of goods and services. Government has a limited role in the production of goods and services. So the government does not plan what goods are to be produced, when should they be produced, and how should they be produced, and for whom. So those decisions are made by private economic players. So the government does not have a role which it plays on the production of the goods and services. The decisions are made by private economic players. So there are no parastatals in a pure economic system, because the government doesn't have any role which it plays on the production of goods and services. Right. The second feature or characteristic is that there is private ownership of the means of production. There is private ownership of the means of production. So, what we mean, individuals are free to own the means of production, such as land, factories, and machinery. And they can use those means of production to provide goods and services. The second, the third feature is the aspect of what we refer to as profit motive. So you find that producers within a free market economy mainly aim to make profits. Their main aim is to make profits. So they are there to make profits. Um, so before they produce a good or a service, they look at whether they are going to earn a profit. Remember, profit is the difference between the revenues and the costs, or the reward for taking risk in running a business. So as long as such a good or a service does not give a profit to the producer, then such a good or a service won't be produced. So it gives us rise to the part of what we refer to as another feature where we say there is no production of public goods. Right. So to start with, let's first talk about what are public goods. Right. So we've said there is no production of public goods, but you need to understand that what are public goods. Right. So remember, goods. A good can be either tangible or intangible. That is, it might be something you can see and touch, or it might be a service. So, in business or economic terms, we refer to goods both as uh, services as well as physical goods which you can touch and see. All right, so public goods are those goods which have two main features, right? The first one is non-rivalry in consumption, and the second one is non-excludability. All right. So remember, there is profit motive. The example for one best example for public goods which can give you is the construction of roads and railway lines, right? So roads, um, mostly once a road has been constructed, those ones who pay for vehicle licenses, and then those ones who do not pay for vehicle licenses can still use the same road. All right. So now, in if it's in Zimbabwe or in Mozambique or Zambia, there are some vehicles which just use the public roads. It might be a highway or a mini highway, and then they don't pay for the road taxes, or what they call vehicle licenses, if it's in Zimbabwe. Right, some countries like South Africa and Zimbabwe, they have the toll gate fees. But then toll gate fees, you find that they are placed, if it's in Zimbabwe, when you're about to move from one town to another or one city to another, that's when you find a toll gate. So toll gate, then they collect funds or money, which is collected. And then when those funds are collected, they use them. You pay like toll fees to pass through a toll gate. Then you pay a certain amount of money. So, but there are some individuals who still evade, right? Some, they only use the vehicle within the periphery of the town, and then they don't pay for the road taxes or toll fees, right? So even if the person is not paid for that, for the road construction, he or she can still use the road, all right? So what we are saying is you can't exclude pairs and non-pairs. Once the good has been provided, it's difficult to say you guys haven't paid for road fees or toll fees or vehicle licenses, so we are not going to use this road. It's very, very difficult. The other example which you can give you is the example of street lighting. So if it's street lighting, they provide street lighting, lighthouses, and lighthouses. Lighthouse mainly is now used to guide ships, uh, to give them direction so that they see where they are supposed to go. So a lighthouse is there to guide ships. All right. So you find that lighthouses in most countries, they are operated by the state. Lighthouses are operated by the state or the government. Why? Because once the ship captain is guided, it's difficult then to demand or to say, give us the money because you have used our lighthouse. So it provides a direction. Normally, if it's at night, the captain might not be able to see where the direction which you or she is supposed to take. Then street lighting. There are some people who do not pay rates. We have these ones municipality fees, local authority fees. They collect rates for payment, upkeep of the city. So like street lights, public toilets, museums, parks, right? So there are people who use public toilets, there are people who use street lights, but they don't pay rates to the municipality. So it might be Johannesburg municipality or city of Harare or city of Bulawayo or municipality of Kariba. They just use, or a city of Cape Town, they just use the street lights, but they don't pay any rates or any fees to the municipality. But at night, those individuals still use the street lights when other individuals have paid for the provision of those street lights. So provision of street lights and maintenance, if the lights need to be replaced, the municipalities, they take funds from the fees or the rates which we have been paid by the residents within that town. So what we are saying is there are some individuals who are like free riders. They just use that service without paying for it. Hence, that results in a situation where we refer to as the free rider problem. And we cannot then exclude the pairs and non-pairs. And there is also consumption of the goods by one individual does not diminish the amount available to another individual. Then that feature, we refer to it as nani rivalry. So people don't compete to say, let me go and rush and use the public road because I might not be able to use it. Or people, they don't rush to say, let me go and use public street lights because once if I delay, I might find that the street lights will be diminished or depleted, right? So we give examples of what we refer to as private goods, right? So for private good, we can refer to as a bag or a pie, right? So the manufacturer or producer of pies, McDonald's or KFC, they when they are providing, they can exclude the pairs and non-pairs. So if you go to McDonald's or KFC, if you say, I want a meal, as long as you have not paid for that meal, then they will not give you the meal. Hence, they can exclude the people who have not paid. But what about the municipality? At night, someone wants to see whether they've been given the correct notes, or they just want to check an address, or they have a car breakdown and then they want to fix the car. They just fix the car and below the street lights. All right. And then the municipality cannot exclude between those people who have paid for that good and people who haven't paid for that good or service. Hence, we say there is problem of nani excludability. Then nani rivalry, or there is no competition on consumption. Consumption by one person does not reduce the amount available to other individual. Right? If it's for ice creams, once or bag and chips from McDonald's or KFC, Once the food has been purchased, like a bucket meal, once the food has been purchased, individuals would delay. If it's being shared with other individuals, if you delay by a few minutes or so, you might find that they'll say, we have actually ate all the food. There's no longer food. We have to go and buy your own. Hence, there is competition. That one we refer to as a private good. So, private good, you can exclude the pairs and the non-pairs. So you say these ones haven't paid; they should not get the beggars and chips. These ones have paid; give them. But for public goods, the municipality or the government is not able to say, all right, you guys are the only ones who use street lights. Because once they are there, or a lighthouse is there, the lighthouse will guide ships, both those ones who have paid or who are paying money, taxes to the government, and those ones who are not. Street lights, once they are provided, um, both the people who are paying municipality rates or taxes to the government and those ones who are not paying will still be able to use. And use of street lights by 10 people or 100 people or 1,000 people does not diminish the amount available to the other individuals. So we can have 1,000,000 individuals passing through the same road using it. So consumption by one individual does not diminish consumption available to another individual. So you see, this case of public goods, what happens now is once we provide the good, you cannot exclude pairs and non-pairs. So there is the free rider problem. So for that reason, private economic players in a free market economy, they don't produce public goods. Why? Because they'll end up making losses. They'll end up making losses. So people make losses if they provide public goods within a free market economy. So that's another feature which we've already mentioned, that there is no production of public public goods. So public goods will not be provided within a free market economy as the producers have a profit motive aspect. So if we provide public goods, we won't be able to make a profit. All right. Then you find that due to the aspect of that there is private ownership of the means of production, it results in a situation where we have many producers or many players within this type of economy. And such a thing results in a situation where we have product variety. So more goods and services are produced. There's variety. There are different versions of products which are produced because we do not have one producer. Right. So you notice when you are going to look at the command or planned economy, the government is the sole producer of all goods and services. It's the sole producer. So in a pure planned economy, you only have, like, say, one producer for shoes, one clothing producer, one food producer. All right. So we used to have such a situation in the former Soviet Union, USSR. All right, Cuba as well, though it's gradually moving towards the free market economy. So there is product variety. Then, due to the fact that there are quite a number of economic players, it also results in a situation where we have a competition. So there is competition in production of goods and services. There is competition in production of goods and services. All right. Then that competition results in lower prices. The competition might also then result in lower prices. Then the other feature is that the consumer is the king, or there is consumer sovereignty. So consumers can determine what is produced and what is not produced by casting their dollar votes. So consumers are kings. Then there is also no production of merit goods. There is no production of merit goods. Right, so the merit goods, just in brief, the merit goods are goods which the state or the government ought that its citizens should consume them. And merit goods have positive externalities. So those are goods which the state ought that its citizens should consume them. What are examples of merit goods? Remember, we've said those are goods which the state encourages its citizens to consume them, or its people to consume them. Such goods include such things as healthcare and education. Healthcare and education. So you find that in developed countries, healthcare is offered free of charge. The same applies to education. Is also offered free of charge, primary level up to high school in developed countries. And a few developing countries here in Africa are also offering free education, like Zambia, proposing to offer free education. Then Zimbabwe, the president in Zimbabwe, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa, also indicated that next year they will be providing free education to um, the peoples who are going to schools. Okay. And they are also saying all kids or children who are below the age of 5 years should be given free medication at public hospitals. So for that reason, you find that people, they don't normally want to pay more money. So you find that there is underproduction of rather than to say no production, to be precise, we need to say there might be underproduction or no production. So there might still be produced, but not up to the adequate levels. We still have private schools, private hospitals and clinics, and then those ones cater for the um, production of the merit goods. And then the merit goods, we have said they have positive externalities. That the externalities are spillover effects. The benefits uh, do not only accrue to the individual who have consumed the good, but also to the other individuals who might not have actually been involved in the consumption of the good. So, say for example, if someone gets educated, gets higher education at a university or high school, then the education might benefit that individual and might benefit the country as a whole. So, the scientific studies which are being carried out right now to find cures for diseases like AIDS and HIV, to find cures for COVID 19, will actually result in benefits to the whole world. So remember, there used to be a time when farmers were not able to store milk, right? So the farmers were not able to store milk. So once they produced milk, there were only two alternatives. Either they have to use the milk in its raw form, which we refer to as fresh milk, or either they will have to make what they refer to as cultured milk. All right, cultured milk, that is fermented milk, which is used to produce products like what they refer to as amas. or mass in Zimbabwe and South Africa, or lacto, all right, cultured milk. So those are the two options, either fresh milk or cultured milk. But then we have a scientist who was carrying out higher studies, all right, further studies. That scientist was called Louis Pasteur. So Louis Pasteur came up with the finding studies which he carried out that if you boil milk at more than 100 degrees Celsius, that milk is boiled, and as soon as quickly it's boiled and packaged, the milk can stay for more than 6 months. And that resulted in the term pasteurized milk after the scientist Louis Pasteur. So now we have long life milk. The formula for preserving long life milk was discovered by Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur did benefits. He did that education. He earned a lot of money when he discovered those findings. But he is no longer there. But his findings are still now being used by other companies which are producing milk and milk-related products. So imagine how much farmers and milk processing companies used to lose in form of losses. But now the milk can be preserved and stored. So we say the higher education which Louis Pasteur carried out did not only benefit himself, but benefited the whole world. So that's why we are saying that education is a merit good. The government encourages its citizens to consume merit goods. But now, these merit goods, like education, they don't normally give more profit to the private economic players. And private economic players shun production of the merit goods. Why? Because they don't give them enough or more profits. So there is the underproduction of the merit goods. Okay, so we'll try to compress. Our time is moving, guys. We'll try to compress now on the part of the benefits and the disadvantages of the private economic system. Right, let's start with the benefits. All right, in a brief, due to time, the first party is that there is product variety. Consumers, they can choose which product they can consume. So product variety, one. Then number two, product variety is occurring due to the fact that we have many economic players, isn't it? Then number two, there is competition, and then competition might result in improved quality of the product due to the fact that we have quite a number of players. And then that competition might also result in lower prices or reduced prices. So as the firms compete, we might end up having lower prices for the goods and services which will be being produced as well. All right, then individuals are allowed to own the means of production. So in a capital, in a planned economy or command economy, you find that people, they don't have a right or a choice which they make, even if they have the capacity to own the means of production. So ownership of land, the factories, the machinery is not owned by individuals. The state owns everything on behalf of the general public. That's what happens within a